Okay, so let me get my headphones in. Okay, ready to get started on your math?
Yeah.
She's already doing math before. Hold on, sweetie, hold on. It's a little loud. Start that video over again. And turn it up, please, so I can be able to hear it. All the way.
I encourage you to pause the video and see if you can figure out what blank is. So there's a couple of ways to tackle this. Let's visualize it on a number line. So that's my number line right over there. And we can start at blank, or I'll call it question mark. So we can start at question mark. And if we add 261 to it, so if we add 261 plus 261, we can get to 630. We can get to 630. That's the 630 right over there. Which means that if we started at 630, if we start at 630, and we were to subtract 261, we were to go the other way, if we were to subtract 261, let's do that. So minus 261 minus 261, we're going to get back to blank. We're going to get back to our question mark. Now there's a bunch of ways that you can compute this, but I'm going to try to tackle it in a way that I would actually try to do it in my head, or it'll simplify my computation. It's just one of many ways to figure this out. So the way I would do it is I would first subtract 200. So I'd first subtract 200. That's about, I'm not drawing it perfectly to scale. So I would subtract 200. So that's minus 200 right over there, which would get me to 430. I can do that in my head. I just subtracted 200s from that. And let's see. Now I want to subtract 60. So then I would subtract 60. So minus 60. Let's see. 430 minus 60. That's 43 tens minus 6 tens. Well, that's going to be 37 tens, or 370. This gets us to 370. And then we got to subtract one more. We have to subtract 260, and then we subtract 1. So 370 minus 1 is 369. So this right over here is 369. Now another way we could have done it is we could have swapped the order. We could have said if blank plus 261 is 630, we could have said 261 plus blank is equal to 630. All I did is I swapped the order here, but we can visualize that as a different thing on the number line. So I'm going to, let me draw my number line again. So there's my number line. And I could start at 261. this time I'm starting at 261. 261. And I want to get to 630. And I'm going to get to 630. And the amount that I add is going to be the blank. So let's see what I have to add to get to 630. And I'm going to add numbers that are easy for me to compute. So I could add 9. I could add 9. Now why did I add 9? Because that gets me to 270, which is a nice round number. And then I could add, let's see, I could add 30 here to get to 300. So let me do that. So plus 30. I'm not doing this quite to scale, but this is going to get me to 300. And then from 300 to 630, well, I could just add 330. So I could just add 330 there. So how much did I add in total? This is 39 plus 330. That's 369. I added 369. So these are all ways of getting to the same value, all ways of viewing the same problem.
Did you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, actually, I want you to do an example for me, if that's okay. Using the number. You think you can do it with the number line? You want to try it out with the number line?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it out here. While I go get the paper, you go ahead and blow your nose, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's she doing?
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the number line like he was just showing us, okay? And so go ahead and have a seat. Now, what was the first step? Instead of doing the subtraction way, let's do it in the last example to where he swapped these two. Okay? And he started with this number to get to this number on the number line. Make sense?
Okay.
All right, so go ahead and swap these two. So go ahead and write the new problem underneath it. Okay, and go ahead and make your number line. Hold the paper so it's not moving. That's what your other hand is for, babe. And go ahead and put the beginning and then the end. And go ahead and write those numbers in. Okay, so show me how you can get to 900. So first, how can you creep your way up to there? So what can you add that will get you closer to 900? That's easy to add.
Maybe 65.
Is that easy to add? 65? If you add 65, what would that get you?
That would get me to...
All right, so how about this? 65 is something. You can creep that way. When you're doing it, though, you want to find numbers that are easy to do. Okay, so instead of 65, which one of those numbers can you use? That's easy. So instead of 65, you can do just what? What number? What's an easy number?
1.
That's easy, but you see that we're going by fives. So the first step is you want to try to get it to get you, because your ones place is a 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get your ones place into 0. So what plus what will change this ones place into a 0? What plus 5 will give you will change that into 1 or to 0 in the ones place?
5.
5. Good job. So go ahead, I'll write it in for you just so you can get that idea. So you're going to make your little hump, okay? And this is your plus 5. So
Looks like the time.
Yeah, does it? Okay, well then you can start writing it then, okay? Because I'm writing it to the side. I can't write it like that, okay? But I'm just trying to give you an example. If you don't like that, you can just cross it out and write it above, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 545 plus 5 is how much?
50. 550.
Okay, so go ahead and write 550 right there. Okay, awesome. So now that we have that, that's one step closer, right? Now the tens place is also a 5, okay? So we want to try to get that into the 5s, or we can even go by hundreds, which we can go all from 5 to 9. Okay, so go ahead and pick another number to add by. It can't really be in the ones place because we have the ones place situated. So maybe you can do a tens place or even a hundreds place.
Mm-hmm. Maybe 600.
Okay, go ahead and add 600. Well, Well, what do you mean? You have to. What are you adding? How about that? What are you adding?
Adding 100 and 100.
I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what you're saying. What are you gonna add by 550 to get you closer to 900? And are you? Why don't you? It sounds like you're heading up to the hundreds place.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I just started coughing. All right. So whenever whenever you are adding and subtracting here, we worked on the ones place. Let's work on the tens place now, and then we'll work on the hundreds place. Okay, let's go in order so we make it a little bit easy for us. So, how can you get this 550 to the next whole hundreds number? What number would that be?
We can add 40.
Okay, so 50 plus 40 will give you what?
590.
Is that a whole number? Is that the next hundreds whole number? We're trying to hear. Let me here, take out the math chart here. Okay, close this up so I can put it back. Okay, so this is the 10 side. We're working on the 100 side. We're trying to get this number into the hundreds. Okay. So on our little timeline here, let me get a little closer. So on our little timeline here, where are we?
We're at 500.
No, what number are we? If you could put the number on the timeline, where are we? We're not. This is not 500. What number is that?
550.
That's correct. So where is that on this timeline here?
Here.
Right there. So where is the next whole number? In the hundreds whole number. In the hundreds place. What's the next hundreds? Where are you at? It's not that hard. Just focus.
Here.
Where is the next hundreds that's closest to that? What hundreds is that closest to?
600.
600. So that's the next hundreds, right?
Uh-huh.
So what plus what will get you to that next hundreds place? When you're talking about here, 550. What will get you to that next hundreds, or the next hundreds place? What tens would you have to add in order to get to 600? How many tens?
50.
50. Good job. So make your hump. Good job. Okay. And so now you're going to work on your hundreds. Okay. So what plus what will get you to 900? Or 600 plus what will get you to 900? How many hundreds would you need to add?
300.
300s, right. Good job. So whenever you add these numbers together, 5 plus 50 plus 300, what number is that? Let me see. Whatever this number is this number here.
355.
Good job. Go ahead and write it on the line. Awesome job. Okay, so go ahead and flip it over. And there's another problem on the back. Okay? And so I want you to go ahead and try to do that. Make your own number line. What's the first thing you have to do?
Switch these places.
Yep, I would flip it. Yep, switch places. Go ahead and write that down then.
Okay.
And then go ahead and make your number line, and you can start then. Remember to work in ones, tens, then hundreds. Okay? That will be a lot easier for you. What is that, baby? What number is that?
It's 9.
Okay. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and try. Go ahead. Okay, so tell me, what are you thinking about now? What are you trying to do?
I'm figuring out what 10 I would use.
Well, so what you want to do is you want to base your answers or what you're adding or whatever based off of this ending. Do these both have the same ones place?
Yes.
Okay. Does this have the same ones place as that?
No.
Okay, so because you added or whatever, because these ones don't match, it's going to make it a lot harder for you. Okay? Because the goal is to try to get to this number evenly. Okay? And so when you have a 9 now, so now you have to work with that 9 and try to get that 9 here. So how can you get that 9 to 0? What plus 9 can give the ones place a 0?
1.
1. Go ahead. Okay, so you wrote 4. What is, I can't read that number. Okay, so you wrote 450. That is correct. Okay, but notice, what is 9 plus 1?
0.
No, what is 9 plus 1?
10.
Okay. So what you could have done is, because the ones are the same, you could have just added what number?
10.
10. Gotta put that up there. So you could have skipped the ones place altogether, is what I'm trying to say, and went straight to the tens. Okay?
Okay.
And so now that we're at 450, we have to get to 750. So what do we do now?
We need to add 100.
How many hundreds? Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It would be 300.
It would be 300, okay, go ahead. Okay, so now that you did that, okay, good job. Awesome. So I just wanted to get you some practice in using the number line, okay? All right, so now you're going to go back to your math and you're going to go ahead and do the subtraction. Go ahead and do the subtraction, okay? Here,
Let's say that we are told that 400.
hold on a second. I don't know why this is dripping like this, but it's messing up your cookies. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
195 is equal to 621 minus blank. What would blank be? Pause this video and see if you can figure that out. Okay, now let's do this together. And one technique is to try to visualize this on a number line. 495 is what you get when you subtract something from 621. So let me put those two numbers on a number line. So let me do the number line like this. So we're going to start at 621 and subtract blank to get to 495. So if this is 621, we're going to subtract some amount to get to 495. So let's say this right over here is 495. Now what amount did we subtract? So here we are subtracting blank. That's my blank over there. And so we need to figure out what that is. So how do you go from 621 to 495? Well, one way that my brain does it, first we can subtract 21 to get to 600. So let me do minus 21 would get us to 600. Then we could subtract another 100 to get to 500. So then we could subtract another 100. So minus 100. to get us to 500. And then to go from 500 to 495, we would subtract another 5. So to go from 621 to 495, and I picked these numbers intentionally. I picked 21 to subtract to get to 600. I picked 100 to get to 500, and then I picked 5 to get to 495. I subtracted a total of...
All right, so whenever you're seeing this, you see, whenever we were doing this here, you were starting at seeing the one or the ones place, tens place, then hundreds place. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to work backwards. So you're going to go find the hundreds place. If you find more hundreds, you can find more hundreds. You can find more tens. If you found a 10, you could do that, and then you can do 5, or you can do ones. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So go ahead and start it.
Of 21, then I subtracted 100, then I subtracted 5. So I subtracted 100, I subtracted 21, and I subtracted 5. And so how much did I subtract in total? So let me just put it this way. This is the same thing as 621 minus these things. That's equal to 495. So in total, let's see, if I subtract 21 and I subtract 5, that is subtracting 26. And so I subtract 126. So I subtracted a total of 126. So 495 is equal to 621 minus 126. Let's do another example. Let's say we want to figure out if someone tells us blank minus 435 is equal to 210. What is blank in this situation? Well, this is a little bit different now, because now we're not trying to figure out what to subtract from the larger number. In this situation, we're trying to figure out the larger number. The larger number minus something is equal to 210. But as always, it's useful to draw this on a number line just to make sure we're thinking about things in a reasonable way. So we're going to start at blank, take out 435, and then we're going to get to 210. So we're starting here. Maybe I'll put a question mark there so we know that point. We're starting there. We are subtracting 435. So that's minus 435. And we are getting to 210. So to figure out blank, we could go the other way around. We could start at 210 and then just add 435. So what's 210 plus 435? Well, there's many ways of doing it, but I encourage you to pause this video and see if you can work that out. Well, one way to do it is first we can add 4.
All right, so let's actually do this one together, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have blank. Can you keep the light on for me? Thank you. Blank minus 435 equals 210. Now, the rule of subtraction is this number is always the biggest number, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, the biggest number is always first when you're working with subtraction. Addition, it doesn't really matter. Okay.
Why?
Because you won't get what we call a negative number, which you'll learn about when you get older. Where we're not working with negative numbers. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the biggest number always has to go first. Okay. So go ahead and make the number line. How he made it. So first, just make your line for the number line. So basically, you're not going to switch it. For addition, you can switch it, you can flip-flop and all that because it doesn't matter. Subtraction, the biggest number always goes first. So even here, the biggest number was first, okay, compared to that one. So the reason why this is here is because the biggest number is here. So on our number line, so this is the biggest number, medium number, then the smallest number is usually the equal one. So that's going to go at the bottom of the scale on the number line, okay? So usually this number here is always the first one after the equal sign because that's the lowest number. Well, no, I can't say it's the lowest number. I won't say it's the lowest number, but that's what you're subtracting to get from here to here. So to get from here to here, you start off with this at the bottom. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so then you're trying to make it to the question mark, which is the line. So, go ahead and go back into that.
I'll do this in another color just for a little bit of variety.
Okay, go ahead and write that on this number line as well.
The question mark?
The question mark at the end. That's your line. That's the big number that you're trying to get to. So because that's the biggest number, it's going to be farthest, okay? And so your middle number is here, okay? So this, actually, this minus this is 435. But that's the same as saying this plus what is that number? This plus 210 plus what gives you that number? What would you add?
535.
You said 500?
Oh, 400.
435. So go ahead and put add. Right here in the bubble. Okay, so I want you to try to figure out what would you do? You can either go back, you can subtract, or you can try to add. Okay, it might be easier. You might want to practice subtracting, just like they did here. Okay? All right, so go ahead and try to subtract backwards. So what is something that can get you... Well, you can't really subtract backwards. Never mind. You got to add. I'm so sorry. Because you can't, there's nothing to subtract from. I'm so sorry. So go ahead and see what can you add to get you... what would that look like? You know what? I want you to do it along with him. So go ahead and press play. Let's do it along with him.
First I'll add 400.
All right, pause it.
So if I add 400,
put the plus sign so we know what you're doing. Wait, pause it really quick. Pause it. Pause it. So you're adding 400. Well, what is this new number? And why are you adding 400? Where is that 400 coming from? What number is that coming from, the 400?
435.
Right, 435, because you're adding, okay? So you're adding the 400s. So what is 210 plus 400?
610.
All right, go ahead and write that on the line. And let's see if you're right.
plus 400, that would get us, see if you add 400s to that, that would get you to 610.
All right, pause it.
And then if I add...
Right, okay, great. So what would you need to add now? What do you think? Because if we got 400 from this number, what do you think you'll need to add next? If you're going by hundreds, tens, and ones, what number do you think you'll add next?
30.
You think? All right, let's see. Go ahead, let's see what he says.
30 to that.
Oh.
So if I add...
Go ahead and pause it.
plus 30.
All right, so go ahead. You were right. Good job. What are we doing, 30?
Huh?
You put 30. What are we doing with 30? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. You didn't put a sign in front of 30. What are we doing with it?
Plus.
Write that there. Awesome. So now go ahead and add it. Okay. And so before we even start the video, are we done adding? So we added the hundreds, right? I circled it. Did we add the tens? Did we add the 10? All right, circle it. So then what are we going to add next?
The 1.
Which is, what are we adding next?
5.
Okay, so go ahead and do that. It kind of looks like lips. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
And so what would the answer be?
645.
Okay, so if that's what you think this is, that would be the question mark, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and write that there, and let's see if you're right. All right, awesome.
I haven't drawn it exact, but this is just to help us think about things. That's 3 more 10s, and I already have 1 10. So 10 plus 30 is 40, so I guess this is 640. And then I'm going to add the 5. So this right over here, if I add 5 to it, is 645. So there you have it. 645 minus 435 is equal to 210.
Yay, you got it right.
You got it right. Yes, good job. Okay, so now you're going to do your own practice. You're going to find the missing number using both addition and subtraction. Okay, so I'm going to leave these number lines here for you to remember, okay, and just to refer back to. Remember, when you're adding, it doesn't matter which number, you might want to put the number here so you can do your number line. But when you're subtracting, the biggest number always goes first, okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to get you some paper. All right? Mm-hmm. And you can go ahead and go to the practice. And you let me know how you do, okay?
Okay.
All right. Oops, I'm so sorry. So question, why didn't you write it how they have it here with the subtraction problem? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. But if you are going to remember if you're writing this, what is this number? If this is the bigger number, right? This number is what?
lower.
It's the lowest number. Okay, so when you're writing on a number line, this is where that number would be. Okay, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you might have to redo your number line or just, cross this out because this is the middle number, just like here. This was the lowest number, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the lowest number, and this was the middle number. So this is what you were going to add to get here. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All of that. All of that. I was like, hold on. Alright, so let's see what you did.
Yep, so I just did it on the number line, and so I double checked my word just to make sure I was right. So actually it was instead of 357, it was 347.
Okay, so where do you think you made that mistake at? Or did you not make a mistake? Wait, yeah, where do you think? Okay, you know what? It's okay. Do you have the right answer now, though? Do you know which one it is?
Yeah, I think it's 347.
I think it's 3. Okay, so where did you make that mistake? Think what numbers are incorrect? Go through each number. Which numbers are not the same? We're comparing these two. What numbers are not the same?
The tens place.
The tens place, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that whatever you were adding in the tens place, even though let's see. So when you added, that was a big jump there. Let's see. I want you to write 640. 606. Sorry, dyslexic moment here. 240. Okay, right. This number 264 plus 80. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then you added how much? Well, oh, see, when you wrote it here on the number line, you wrote it in, you added, you see, you added one more 10. Not just 5. 5 would be here. You added a whole another 10. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, so go ahead and see if you are correct to see if that is the right answer.
Yay!
Great job. And so you see how it is so important to double check your work because you wouldn't have caught that. Okay? Mm-hmm. And you can also, just like we did this here, you can also, break that down. So you're making sure that you're writing it correctly on the number line. Okay? Mm-hmm. Great job, though. Keep going. I've been trying to fix this for the whole math problem. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm trying to charge my phone and have it record at the same time. Yep, all yawning and stuff. Done. the next one right? You still working on it?